This is Law for Community Workers Spotlight on the Shortcut Series podcast for community and health workers, produced by Legal Aid New South Wales. My name is Pauline, and I'm from the Community Legal Education branch here in Legal Aid, and we would like to acknowledge that our podcast is recorded on Aboriginal land and pay our respects to elders past and present. Always was, always will be. Today, our guest is Sarah, and we're shining the spotlight on the Refugee Advice and Casework service. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Pauline. Thank you for having me.
So could you just tell us a little bit about who you are, what your role is, and the service you work for?
So my name is Sarah Dale. I'm the Centre Director and Principal Solicitor for the Refugee Advice and Casework Service, RACS, in Sydney. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm very proud to say that at RACS we are a dedicated community legal centre to supporting people seeking asylum, refugees, the stateless and displaced to find safety here in Australia.
That's wonderful. And what do you like most about your role?
My favourite part about working at RACS is the team that I get to work with. I get to work with an amazing group of human rights lawyers who all believe in the same thing, and that's justice and dignity for and with refugees. But my absolute favourite part of my role is working with the community. I meet different people every day from different parts of this globe who are all incredibly strong and resilient and have fought to be here in Australia. And so I get a PhD in human resilience every day whilst working at RACS.
And what service does RACS actually provide, and what would be a typical case for your team?
So at RACS, our job is to assist people with all aspects of immigration law whilst they seek protection here in Australia. So we assist people to be recognised as a refugee and therefore to remain in Australia on a visa. And then once they've got that visa to remain in Australia, to have their families join them here in safety here in Australia. We also work with people whilst they're waiting for that outcome. So if people need assistance with a bridging visa, if people are detained, if people have been refused and they need that decision appealed, RACS would assist with that. So we see ourselves as a service that is there to assist people with immigration law questions if they're in the process of seeking asylum from the minute they arrive to the day they're joined with their families in safety.
So would that be your target clients, or are there any other eligibilities to access the service?
So the main people that RACS is there to support are those that are seeking asylum. People that come to Australia by plane, by boat, however they arrive, on whatever visa they arrive or whatever their status is once they arrive in Australia, to apply for protection to remain here in Australia, as well as anyone who might be stateless that is born in Australia. We have a service available to assist stateless people to access citizenship in Australia, but also we're there to assist people who might not have the legal status of a refugee, but maybe from a refugee background or the family they wish to support overseas is from a refugee background, to reunite with their family here in Australia. So our target community and our main eligibility is that you are seeking asylum, that you are a refugee or are from a refugee background and need assistance to remain in Australia or have your families join you here.
Okay, I actually understand that RACS has some specialist services available as well. Would you talk to us a little bit about that?
That's right. RACS has a number of specialist services for particular groups within that community. So last year, RACS worked with people from more than 100 different countries. So there's a lot of different vulnerabilities and nuances within the community that we work of people seeking asylum and refugees. One such service is our Women at Risk service. That's for women or people who identify as a woman who fear or have experienced gender or domestic based violence and need assistance in that protection process. So, for that service, we work in a women's only space with female lawyers to support people who now have additional complexities on top of their protection application. We also have a service that is dedicated to supporting people that are part of the LGBTIQI plus community, Again, last year we did a lot of research around how best to support people in that community, given the extensive nuance and the additional vulnerabilities that are experienced by that community. And so we have a dedicated service for them as well. I also touched on our service dedicated to stateless people. So, whilst many people would think that working with refugees or people seeking asylum is quite a nuanced or niche group, indeed, there are a lot of vulnerabilities and different factors within that community that we are also there to support.
And what would be the best way for a community worker to make a referral to your service, or can clients self refer?
We would love people to reach out to RACS in whichever way they are most comfortable. The absolute best way is to email us at admin@racs.org.au. And caseworkers, community workers, other lawyers, clients alike are all encouraged to email referrals to that email address. If clients are self referring to our service, sometimes they might reach out to us through social media. Sometimes they might call our service on 02 83 55 7227, or they'll email. Or alternatively, we also have a drop in service out at Auburn Centre for Community. That's embedded in the Auburn Community Centre, and we're there every Wednesday in the mornings for people to just drop in. You don't need an appointment, you don't need to have spoken to us before, you don't need to have called us before. You can just present at that space. And what's really great about that space is that it is accessibility friendly. So if you have any mobility limitations, there is disabled parking out the front. It is all flat, and so we would encourage you to access us through that Auburn Centre for Community on a Wednesday morning if you'd like.
And is it easy to get to? So is it near public transport for people?
That's right. So Auburn Centre for Community is just down the road from Auburn Station. And if you jump on our website, we've got very clear instructions on how to travel from the station to that location.
Excellent. And as always, all the information and websites mentioned, email addresses, telephone numbers will all be listed in the show notes for everybody. Is there a newsletter or an e-alert for community workers to subscribe to for RACS?
We do have a newsletter. It's not necessarily strictly dedicated for community workers, but it is for supporters of RACS and those that work with us. And that newsletter you can register for just by jumping on our website. That newsletter gives updates on RACS, on new programs that we've launched. It also gives updates if there's been any changes in the policy or the law. It also lets you know if we're holding any community legal training sessions. So please jump on our website and register for our newsletter, and that's the best way to be kept up to date with RACS work.
Excellent. Do you present training sessions from RACS or do you present at conferences?
We present training sessions and we also present at conferences. So, often different organizations would invite us out to meet with their community workers or to meet with their caseworkers, and we can deliver training on what is the law, what is the process for people seeking asylum, or if you wanted that particular training for working with particular groups, we can also offer that if it's one of the groups that we support. We love presenting at conferences. We love meeting with people and sharing the work of RACS. But most importantly, working with people with the lived experience of seeking asylum and having their voices elevated at places like conferences so that people can really get to know and understand better refugees in our community.
So, where can people find RACS on social media?
We are on Twitter at RACS Australia. We are on Instagram, also at RACS Australia, and we're also on Facebook, Refugee Advice and Casework Service RACS. You can follow some of our team members also on Twitter, and we are very active on social media. The only platform we haven't yet jumped over to is TikTok, but watch this space. Maybe someday soon we'll also be there.
Well, we all definitely look forward to that. And to finish up, as always, our final question: what's the one thing you would like anyone who is in Australia and has arrived as a refugee to know?
That there are places like RACS that welcome you wholeheartedly. You have every right to seek asylum in Australia, despite what you hear or you see or you think the media portrays. The Australian community that I know welcome you, are excited to have you part of our community, and all we want is for you to find a safe home in Australia.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Sarah, and for letting us shine the spotlight on the Refugee Advice Casework Service, also known as RACS.
Thank you so much for having me. We're really grateful to share our work and make sure people are aware that we are here to support this community.
That was our guest, Sarah, from the Refugee Advice and Casework Service. As always, you'll find links to all the websites and resources mentioned in this episode listed in our show notes, as well as a full transcript. Or you can email us to cle@legalaid.nsw.gov.au. This has been Spotlight On. Thank you for listening, and goodbye, everyone.